Castlevania. This game was the start of one of the most iconic franchises that led to a successful Netflix series, numerous music remixes including the highly anticipated and successful hit Castledania, which is now available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere, links in the description below. Shameless plugs aside, the Castlevania franchise is up there with Mega Man, Mario, and Zelda as far as being iconic. The story is a very simple one. Simon, a member of the Belmont clan, is tasked with killing Dracula. Yes, that Dracula. Funny little story about my first time playing Castlevania. It was Christmas break of 1988. I had gone to my friend's house and I had spent the night there, and he had showed me this nifty little game called, you guessed it, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. We played Zelda 2 all night and ended at some point around Death Mountain. In the morning over breakfast, we had discussed how difficult the game was and how much it had aggravated us. He then proceeded to say the following words that would damn me for the next 13 years. I have a game, and you can have it, because it makes me too mad to play. And he gave me his copy of Castlevania. You know, to this day I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse that he did, but I digress. On the way home, I held the cartridge tightly. Also, this cartridge was one of the ones where when you shook it around, you could hear little bits of plastic moving around. Little did I know that I would soon find out why I heard that plastic moving around inside the cartridge. So when I had gotten home, I popped this demonic SOB into my Nintendo, and upon hearing Vampire Killer at the beginning, I knew that I was in for a good time. I had passed stage 1 with no issues. Stage 2, I died quite a bit to the Medusa heads launching me into the pits. On stage 3, the flea men at the beginning tore me up because they are relentless. And stage 4 was as far as I got for years. I couldn't beat the monster and Igor. It wasn't until many years later did I try again and finally got to the Grim Reaper, and after many tries I was able to best him, and then I finally had gotten to Dracula himself. It took me a solid couple of hours, but I didn't want to turn my Nintendo off. After about 2 or 3 hours of grinding against Dracula, learning how to fight him, I got to see his undead face go flying off the screen. Immediately I threw my hands into the air in happiness, and then I was greeted to Phase 2. You heard me. Phase 2. Bosses didn't have Phase 2s on the regular Nintendo. So I immediately then got hit, and I got to try it again for 2 or 3 more hours until I finally finished the game. Castlevania. The game that took me 12 to 13 years to finally complete for the first time. First time I played this game, I was 5 years old. By the time I finally beat the game, I was close to 18 years old. It is one of the games that I remember distinctly going back to multiple times throughout the years, getting as far as I possibly can, getting really mad for some reason or another, and just rage quitting. Or, taking it and stopping before I wanted to throw the cartridge, much like the friend that I had probably did, which is what caused the plastic pieces on the inside of it to make that little rattle noise when you shook the cartridge around. But with all of that being said, let's take a look at what achievements that this game has going on for it. RetroAchievements.org is a webpage where you can tackle custom-made achievements for retro games in the same vein like PlayStation trophies, Xbox Live, or Steam achievements, but for your retro games. Check it out if you want to add some additional challenges to some of your favorite retro games. Also check in the description below for a link to see what games I have mastered and comment with one of those for the next game that you would like to see a video on. Also, just a quick reminder to press like and subscribe, as it desperately helps me with the YouTube algorithm and is the best way that you can support the channel to help keep these videos going. I also stream on twitch.tv/DanCarnate, so come on in and check it out as we knock out these chivos. Now, back to your regularly scheduled video. Castlevania has 425 retro achievement points, with an additional 425 on hardcore mode, bringing the total to 850. I would say that this achievement set only really has the damageless boss achievements as far as the ones that I could consider being difficult. It also does have a bunch of tedious achievements in the form of getting all of the hidden treasures and candles, but I won't be going over those. I will only be focusing on the boss achievements for you. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright, for our first achievement, we have the Bat, which is the first boss of the first stage. It's one of the only enemies that are a boss that you can actually use the clock on, so we're going to use this to our advantage. Once he gets into whip range here on this top shelf, just go ahead, use the clock, freeze him in place, get yourself a kill. There's a reason why this one has over a 20% achievement rate. One way that I used to do it as a kid is I would grab the axe here towards the end of the stage, and I would actually use the axe to get up a multiplier so that when I go to fight the Bat boss, I could actually have triple axes for it, just because I always thought it was cooler to just huck a bunch of axes at him instead of using the clock to kind of cheese him. So you can go ahead and you can grab the triple multiplier, turn around, throw axes till he's dead. I don't know, it just seemed cooler. I was a kid, come on. Okay, for our second boss we have the Medusa. One of the easiest ways is to grab the holy water here, mid-stage. It's actually just one screen before you fight Medusa, which is great. So go ahead, use the holy water to get up some multipliers on these bone towers here. This is going to make it really easy. Get to Medusa, go to the door, turn around, throw holy waters, and she'll be stuck in a position, and she'll die very easily. Another quick and easy achievement. Here we have the mummies on stage 3. So we're going to try to keep the holy water through the stage, get to the end of the stage, and get up here on this top shelf here. They can't hit you from here. And we're just going to throw down holy waters, and when they get together like this, you just sit and you reap your rewards. Really simple. Now there are many other ways actually to do some of these achievements. To do this one in particular, one thing that you can do is if you have the cross, you can bring that with you to the end of the stage. Now quickly jump back up onto this top shelf, because what you want is for the two mummies to get onto the left so you can jump over them. There's actually a glitch in this game where if you throw a cross and it hits both mummies at the same time, instead of just doing the singular damage, it actually does damage to them for every frame, killing them almost instantly, as you saw there. Stage 4. This is when we fight Frankenstein and Igor. Once again, holy water is our best friend, so we can use the holy water to keep Frankenstein stuck, use our whip to keep Igor stuck, and just burn him down. Really easy if you can make it here with the holy water, especially with a triple multiplier. Now, if you do have like the cross, you can do some cross strats where you can try to get in a ton of damage on Frankenstein and then try to get Igor. As you can see here, sometimes luck just kind of works for us, and we're able to keep that damage list there as well. Now then, for one of the most intimidating bosses in the game that wrecked me until I was in my 20s. Time for the Grim Reaper. But guess what? Holy water, once again. Get to the Grim Reaper, just jump and throw holy waters, and he will die. That's all you have to do. Now, one thing to note here is that you can actually use the holy water just straight on the platform, and it will kill the Grim Reaper, but you may miss a frame or so, and he will jump off of there, and once he gets away from that little platform, things go haywire. I wanted to just show a little bit here of how to fight the Grim Reaper in the event that you are trying to fight him and don't have the holy water. For this example, I'm doing whip only. Now, obviously I'm not doing damage list, but the big thing is just to keep track of all of these sides, see where they're going, and try to get in as much damage as you can, because as you kill the sides, it becomes increasingly difficult to avoid them. One last note, the sides can hurt you after the Grim Reaper's dead, so make sure not to touch them. Alrighty, just like Super Castlevania 4, let's prepare for Dracula. Oh, okay then. Well, how do we prepare for Dracula? Well, here's a technique that is really good for a lot of beginning players. After you grab the cross before Dracula, you can actually grab these other candles here before entering Dracula's room. Take them, go back down the stairs, and then come back up, and you'll notice that all of these candles have respawned, allowing you to get more hearts. Now what you can also do is you can actually use the cross on these candles, and just like everywhere else in the game, once you've destroyed 10 of them, you'll be able to get a double multiplier, and you could even do this up to a triple multiplier if you chose to. But for actually fighting Dracula, we have kind of a different strategy. So when fighting Dracula, the main thing you want to make sure is that you are able to keep this last candle here, which has the holy water, until you can grab it. I usually like to just try to time the cross, and maybe I'll hit Dracula with it at the same time. But the main thing that we're trying to do here is avoid damage by waiting for him to shoot. We jump towards him and we whip. This is a long fight when you're going for damageless. Now, if you're really snazzy, you can use the cross and you can get in a lot more hits by trying to hit the head as well. You can actually use the cross to damage the fireballs as they come out, but I always found, for me, for damageless, this was always the safest method. One thing I want to make a note of here is that in the event that you do happen to get hit while you're trying for the damageless achievement, continue to do the fight just to get better at the timing of the fireballs, so you know how to jump towards him and avoid them for your next attempts. That is one of the great things about this game, is that if you do die, or even if you get a game over, you just start right back at those stairs, so you can come right back up here and give it another shot. And that's one of my secrets to success as far as doing damageless chivos and stuff in general, is I just go ahead and I keep trying when I can, even after I've failed. Okay, so for the cookie monster, big thing is you use the holy water to keep him in place. Now he's going to jump. Now this here is the short hop. So as you notice, he will hit you in the event of that, because it's very difficult to get underneath him during that. As far as killing him, all you're going to do is just use the holy water and then hit him in the face. But one thing that I recommend is actually when you go to fight and you're on the last hit of phase 1, wait until he's on one of the sides, either all the way on the left or all the way on the right, and you'll have a much easier chance of being able to avoid him and be on the side, and you just kind of lead him through that entire side. Makes it a lot easier. But keep trying and you'll get it. I know you can do it. Alrighty, so now time for everybody's favorite part that's going to make the comments explode with what the hell is wrong with you. Let's rate this game and this Chivo set. So for the game, I'm going to give this game an 8 axes out of 10. It's one of the all-time greats. If you haven't played Castlevania, you really owe it to yourself. It's a short enough game, has a really strong difficulty, and is just a great game overall. For Chivo difficulty, we're going to give it 4 holy waters out of 10. Holy water really makes a lot of these more difficult achievements much easier. Really, the Chivos pale in comparison to the difficulty of the actual game for the average player. And lastly, is this set fun to do? We give it a 5 flying Dracula heads out of 10. It could be higher on the scale if it wasn't for all of the achievements that require you to get all of the candles and all of the broken walls and hidden treasures, as they are just very tedious to complete. With that, we've reached the end of our retro achievement review. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section for the game that you'd like to see me do next. Also, make sure to like the video if you did enjoy the content, so it can appease the YouTube god so I don't have to sacrifice any more babies. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future content.